What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Economic Prepper here. We've got news. I've got a big update that I want to share with you guys. We are being told to brace for economic impact, and we're actually being told this by the CEO of one of the largest banks here in the United States. More information I want to share with you guys on this later in this video, but this is going to impact everything, guys. This is going to impact our gas prices, our diesel prices, food prices. I don't care if you shop at Walmart, BJ's, Costco, Sam's Club, Publix, Aldi's. It doesn't matter what grocery store you shop at. This is going to have a massive impact, and if you're not paying attention to what's happening in the stock market, you will be caught off guard. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing to the channel and also drop a like for the video. I really would appreciate that. But let's go ahead and get into this. There are two main factors that Jamie Dimon, who is the CEO of one of the largest banks in America or even in the world, Jamie Dimon, he says that there are two main factors that he's worried about. Number one, it's the so-called quantitative tightening, or also known as QT. It is scheduled to begin this month and will ramp up to $95 billion in 1 month in reduced bond holdings. All right, and so quantitative tightening is essentially the exact opposite of what we've seen after the pandemic had started. We had seen the Fed responding, the U.S. government, at the time, it was the Trump administration responding to the pandemic. Literally, we had to shut everything down. And I'll be honest with you, I'm a little bit concerned with this up and coming. It's not a pandemic. It's not a pandemic, but we got a disease that we are monitoring. You guys have seen my previous videos. More and more details are coming out on that one, and more people are being confirmed to be infected by that. But that's another story. I'll save it for another video. We saw in the previous response, we saw quantitative easing, which is the exact opposite of the quantitative tightening that is taking place that Jamie Dimon of JP Morgan, CEO of JP Morgan, is concerned with. This is going to affect everything, you guys. Price of gas, price of fuel, your rent prices. It's going to affect our mortgage rates. I don't care if you shop at Walmart, Target, Costco, it doesn't matter. Everything is going to be going up as a result of this quantitative tightening. We've already seen the Fed raise interest rates by only 0.75%, and we've already seen a massive negative impact to the economy as a result of that. And if you've seen my recent video, we've even confirmed that in spite of the quantitative tightening that has already started from the Fed, the interest rates, the inflation rate that has been recorded, the CPI that they're reporting, has gone up from 8.3% to 8.6%. It is getting worse, you guys. Please don't mind the noise, you guys. I'm just kind of walking through here. Kind of nice here. Very calming, very calming. But anyway, I wanted to kind of move on into our discussion here. The other large factory that is worrying CEO of JP Morgan, CEO of Chase, is he's worried about what is happening with this Ukraine war here and its impact on commodities. We're talking about commodities such as food and fuel, diesel prices, unleaded fuel prices. Jamie Dimon says that oil could hit $150 to $175 per barrel. Now, how much of an impact can we possibly see as a result of that? Well, I've already seen, thanks to you guys, I appreciate your comments. I appreciate you guys sharing how much gas prices are where you're at, because this really helps us to have a more full spectrum scope of what our economy looks like from a countrywide aerial view perspective. Many of you guys have actually already shared with me that some parts of California are seeing gas prices hit $9 a gallon already. Now, guys, check this out. If we're already currently at oil prices of $122 per barrel, and Jamie Dimon is predicting anywhere between $150 to $175 per barrel for oil, we could potentially see a 30% increase in fuel. So the parts of California that are already at $9 a gallon for fuel, some parts are even hitting close to $10 per gallon for fuel. Just imagine, go ahead and tacking on an additional 30% to that price. We could potentially be seeing anywhere between $12 to $13 per gallon for fuel in the event that we actually hit the $175 per barrel mark, which is already being predicted by one of the wealthiest men in this world who is actually in control of one of the largest financial institutions that we have in the world and in the United States. JP Morgan said, quote, "You better brace yourself." Now, this is coming from one of the wealthiest people in the world, one of the largest bank, not the bank owner, but he essentially runs JP Morgan. He essentially runs Chase Bank, right? So with hundreds of billions of dollars at his disposal, at his position, he's telling us to brace ourselves. Now, I never take a headline and just kind of run with that. But what I am saying is this. The tide is definitely changing, and what we've been talking about on this channel is always to brace ourselves, to prepare. A wise prepper is never just having one exit strategy. You got to have multiple plans of attack for survival, and part of that survival needs to have a financial component to it. Everything going forward, you guys, mark my words, is going to be more expensive, and if you're not prepared for this, I really feel for you guys. So I'm really hoping that you guys share this video with your friends and with your family. Tell your friends and your family to wake up. When I say leaving your money in banks is a guaranteed way to be worse off financially, I'm not saying that I don't use banks. I'm saying that if you keep your money only in a bank, the rate of inflation is eroding your money, your buying power so fast, so rapidly. I would be, there's no way I'm going to keep more than I need to in a bank. I'm going to pay my bills out of the bank. But when it comes to attempting to preserve wealth, to preserve your cash, because you're going to need to stockpile cash. And if you're stockpiling cash in the bank only, you're going to wake up one day and realize that $100 probably only buys you a hamburger. And that's scary to think about. Now, guys, here's another thing that's really scary, right? Okay. Essentially, we're in a situation where there's too much excess cash in the market. There's too much excess money, liquidity in our financial system. And so with the Fed's rate hikes, they're attempting to curb inflation and reel back in some of that excess liquidity, some of the excess cash. That means that they're emptying their balance sheets and they're essentially dumping bonds onto the market to essentially exit their position of previously quantitative easing into a mode of quantitative tightening. There are two factors that JP Morgan identified that he's worried about. First, he said that the Federal Reserve signaled that it will reverse its emergency bond buying programs in an attempt to ultimately shrink its balance sheet. Now remember, in order to prevent the previous stock market crash, which generally happens when there's a massive stock market crash, you can imagine just how many jobs are at risk, because many of these business owners, decision makers, if their portfolio drops drastically, they're looking to cut costs wherever possible. And one of the quickest, easiest ways for companies to cut costs is that they typically want to reduce headcount. Therefore, a lot of jobs end up being at risk when there is a massive stock market crash or any type of economic collapse. So he said, first, the Federal Reserve has signaled that it will reverse its emergency bond buying programs and shrink its balance sheet. So that's number one thing to be concerned about. Number two, the so-called quantitative tightening, or the QT is what they call it for short. It's scheduled to start to begin this month and will ramp up to $95 billion a month in terms of reducing their bond holdings. So what are they going to do with these bonds? These Treasury bonds, these T-bonds? They're going to dump them onto the market. This is not going to be very good for a lot of investors who are uninformed. Sorry, my arm's getting tired. And this is not going to be very good for those who are not preparing economically. So I wanted to share this information with you guys. Make sure that you are stockpiling cash. Make sure that you are eliminating high interest credit card debt, any kind of high interest debt you have. I don't care if it's a car that you're paying 19% interest on. If you have a credit card where the interest rate is anything but, if it's more than 2% interest, eliminate that credit card debt as fast as possible, because what is going to happen is, as they're increasing the Fed's interest rate, those are the rates that are going to be going up as well. If you have an adjustable rate mortgage on your house and you're outside the promotional period where your mortgage rate is locked in, you need to start strongly considering your options, because your mortgage payment will go up if you are carrying a variable rate mortgage as opposed to a fixed rate mortgage. We're going to talk more about financial preparedness and economic preparation going forward, but I just wanted to let you guys know what is coming, because it's about to get serious, you guys. So make sure to like this video if you made it this far. Also subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate the support. Do your boy a favor and share this video with your friends and your loved ones, and I look forward to seeing you guys on the next video.